3 minutes to 8. Is it going to be a win or a bin? Let's have a quick read through of the description on Steam. 3 minutes to 8 is a mind bending pixel art adventure, a gaming experience threading the edge of consciousness where everything is possible and yet remains elusive. Players will find themselves in, and then loads of symbols and stuff to remain mysterious, of course, which is what I think it's trying to do, and certainly is, from my opinion, as we'll discover as the video goes on. So, what is this really? I mean, I would say it's a point-and-click adventure game. You start off in your apartment. There's various things you can interact with. You can left-click to physically use something, or look at it, or pick it up, or whatever. Right-click to learn about the item. So if you're not sure what it does, you can, of course, do that. You can move within your apartment, go to different rooms. You can leave your apartment and explore the streets outside. And you have to work out what on earth is going on. Now, when I first started playing this, it confused the hell out of me. I didn't really understand what to expect at all. So, just to keep it very brief, I moved outside my apartment, tried doing a few things, and eventually my, should we say, time ran out because at 3 minutes to 8 every night, you will die through one way or another. And the way you can die depends on where you are and what's going on. There's many, many ways to die. And when I died the first time, I thought, oh, that was a very boring game. Have I got to start again? I've got no idea. But actually, no. You can choose an item that you've collected in the game off a person or an object or out of a bin or something like that and collect it and keep it for the next life, should we say. And then you go round on a big old loop. It's like a time dilemma. It's like Groundhog Day. Off you go again. But sometimes there are variables as you go through the world, the same world. The atmosphere might change, the characters might change, some of the objects might change, some of the buildings might change, the weather can change, positions of characters can change, but you're in the same world. And you die again because every time you move into another room, you waste another minute. And of course, you only have until 3 minutes till 8. You start at around, I think, 7:30 something. So you've got about 20 something moves, should we say, between different rooms or sections. And you can keep taking through one item every time you die. And that's basically the crux of it. And you've got to work out why this keeps happening. Why does this Groundhog Day keep happening to you? It's all very sci-fi related, robots, distant dreams, memories, all of that stuff. So it's very science fiction themed. Okay, so now you've got an understanding of what the game is. I'll go through some of the things that I really like. Now, the visuals I really, really like. Now, they are pixel art styles, but they are really, really good. Things are captured very, very nicely. The detail is good, and it's not of poor quality pixel art at all. It's brushed up perfectly, and it suits this game absolutely spot on. The voice acting for the characters that you come across in the game, and in fact your own character, are really good. You can talk to robots and humans, all with different backgrounds and reasons for being there. But I think the voice actors capture their characters absolutely perfectly. Everything is spoken, so there are choices in dialogue. So you click on a character, you can choose what you want to say. As you go through the game, through these different lives I've said about, you can choose a different dialogue. And I think that because the actors will say those exact lines that you are clicking on, they get it absolutely spot on. I think the character that you play as reminds me of, and I apologize to any lovers of the Broken Sword games, but it sounds so familiar to the main male detective in Broken Sword. I do know his name off the top of my head, but I can't be bothered to look. But if you know Broken Sword, you know who I mean. But the main guy in this game sounds very, very similar to him. He's probably not the same actor, but he sounds similar. Maybe he is. I love the story, and I like how it blends between the different lives. And by that, I mean when you die and you resurrect. So what happens in the previous life can impact the next life. And it seems to work really, really well. I mean, I've not completed this game, by the way. I really should mention this. I've not completed it. I played 4 hours, and I'm on to life 9 or 10, maybe even 11, maybe into the double figures. And I'm still rattling my way through the conversations and clues and things. But I think I do need to get this review out rather than complete the game. I mean, I've got a good enough handle on what this game does and what it's trying to do to be able to review it. But in terms of the flow between the lives, I think is absolutely spot on. The story is excellent. It kind of goes into the realms of robotics and what the robots can tell you. what you're not allowed to know. It's a psychological game as well, and that psychology flies through. Are you real? Are you not real? The people that you're meeting, are they genuine? Are they not? And there's some great stories behind those characters and the way that you interact with them. I love the immersive element of it. Now, I'm not big into sci-fi at all, but I feel like I'm getting dragged into a big sci-fi story and I'm enjoying it. It's immersive. You feel like you're involved and you really want to work out what the hell is going on because it is, I wouldn't say creepy because it's not scary or anything like that. It's just a bit weird and you want to know why. It keeps doing strange things to you. I'm not going to spoil too much, and I probably can't show too much in the video, like codes or certain things to get you through certain bits. So I've got to be careful of the way I clip this up in terms of visuals. But yeah, for me, it's atmospheric and immersive, absolutely. Now, no game is perfect, so there are some negatives. So, although overall I'm going to give this a good rating, there are some negatives. So, when you come back to life every time, this is probably just me being annoyed by it. When you go up to the same characters, because the characters effectively and for the most part remain the same throughout the game, you need to go through the same sequence of questions to get back to where you were. So, for example, if you needed to get to a bit of knowledge about how to build something, say, for example, a time machine, you have to go through the sequence of asking the same questions on every single life to get to that point of asking those same questions about the time machine. What I would say would be better is to have the game remember what you've already asked so you can jump straight in and say, tell me about the time machine, for example, rather than having to go through a sequence of asking him, then her, then him, then that robot, then back to them and ask about the time machine. Now, I get that that's all laid out because it wants you to repeat yourself, but the problem with that is what ends up happening is, and you'll probably see in the video, is you speak to the people that you've already spoken to and you're asking the same questions from the choices that you've already asked and you just keep clicking through them. So actually you're wasting a lot of time just click, 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 click because you've already read the text 5 million times before on your previous lives. So in a way, the fact that you are having to click through conversations without reading it is indicating that you're reading stuff you don't need to read. And could that be omitted from the game? Is there a way that that could be taken away because you've already asked those questions and therefore progress through the lives and understand more each life rather than having to waste your time going through all this stuff? Because ultimately, if you're clicking to skip, you don't need to read it. When you can run in the game, it's a little bit clunky. You double click to run, but it's literally for about half a second, and you got to double click again, and you end up just clicking on something you try to interact with. It doesn't work. Let's put it like that. You either need to press the shift key, for example, and you can toggle running on or off. You're either running or you're not running. Otherwise, it's just a bit annoying, and yeah, it's a bit clunky, I think. The game seems to actually encourage you to write things down or do something like that, whether that's pen or paper on your computer, notepad or something, to remember what's been said or what's been suggested. Now, I'm not up for that. There is a journal in the game, and you can flick through it, but I don't think it's particularly well laid out. It tells you what you've done and what you've learned on each life, but you have to go into it. And if you're like me and you've gone through 11 lives, you've got to go back a long way to read everything. Although I can't offer a solution, so I hold my hands up to that, I don't think that's the best way of trying to establish what you've already established in the game to try and move on to the next part. Because there's a lot to remember. You're not going to remember codes. You're not going to remember the conversations, everything. And sometimes it can become a bit mind-boggling. And I've got to the point where, as I said previously, I'm about 4 hours in, and I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong. But I'm going to get stuck pretty soon. And I'm thinking maybe that's because I've not written something down or I can't remember something. Maybe. I think I'll get there eventually. But of course, I've got to get this review out at some point. So I've come to the point now where I've just obviously given my opinion as of now. Yeah, I think an easier way to recap on what's happened. Overall, I love this game. I think it's fantastic. There is a demo on Steam. So yeah, if you're not sure what this is about or you want to be clear on whether or not it's a game you want to buy, download the demo, have a look. Why not? It's free. Even the game itself is not overpriced from what I can tell. It's £10.23 at the moment, ending on the 30th of October 2023, but the full price is only £12.79, so let's call it 13 quid. It's well worth it. For sheer length of gameplay, really, you're going to get a lot of time out of this. So I would say this is definitely going to be a win rather than it being 100%.